When a world champion AD carry puts in 3 epic performances in solo queue, how can we not look at these games to figure out what it is Ruler does that the rest of us don't do? What's up, GameLeap? The Gist back at it. Ooh, and in today's upload, yes, we will be watching Gen G Ruler stomp his way to easy 15-minute victories in Korean Challenger. And the concepts we will talk about are an essential part of a top-tier AD carry's arsenal, so if you actually want to climb, stick around until the end. Now, in this first game, Ruler is on Syndra and makes the enemy Aphelios go 0-4 in 6 minutes, and the first thing he does is crucial. These 3 melee minions, what does Aphelios want to do? Last hit them, that's right. Knowing this, Ruler stands on top of these minions so he can then Q the Aphelios. Now, he also has to take into account that the enemy bot lane has a support, so when Amumu is holding the south side of this lane, Ruler makes sure to hold the high side so he creates space between him and that threat. So when he Qs Aphelios again as he auto-attacks this minion, Amumu cannot retaliate. But just what if the enemy support is on the north side of the lane? We'll do what Ruler does. So as Amumu changes his position, Ruler does too, and they have now swapped sides. This means that when Aphelios again moves in range of Ruler, he can damage him knowing that there is a very small chance Amumu can do anything about it. And just look at Aphelios' health after this level 1. Now at this stage, Ruler starts auto-attacking the minions, and this is so Thresh and himself hit level 2 ASAP. You can even see Thresh auto-attacking the wave as well, but in your games, your support probably won't, so ping them for assistance. Now Aphelios is about to die, and as soon as Ruler and Thresh hit level 2, they move up looking to fight because of this massive HP advantage. Ruler manages to land his stun, and even if Amumu lands his stun, who cares? And it's a simple kill. But this only exists because of how Ruler positioned and spaced at level 1 and for the kill itself. Now after getting a kill this early on, you have to punish your opponents by shoving the wave. So most, if not all of these minions will die to the tower, and Aphelios will miss out on a bunch of golden experience. So this early stage of the game, Ruler already has a 500 gold lead, and Aphelios is about to die again. Now what sets this up? When Ruler returns to lane, look at this wave. It's pushing into him, and even though he has an item lead on Aphelios, he is a level down, and fighting in this wave, yeah, nah. So Ruler backs off and lets the wave push into him, and this is where Aphelios dies. Ruler cues the wave, and for us, this sphere will disappear, so let's mark where this sphere is so we know, and Ruler is going to angle himself so this sphere is in between him and Aphelios. He then E's, and the sphere stuns Aphelios, and Ruler gets in a free W and Q, very clean, and because of where the lane is actually being played from, because Ruler let the wave push into him, Aphelios gets another grey screen. Now same thing, Aphelios is dead, so what do we do with the wave? We hard push, and Ruler's gold lead after these 2 kills is now over 800, but Aphelios needs to die a couple more times before we can be satisfied. So again, this kill is possible because Ruler doesn't just autopilot and hit the minions, because that might look like a good time, but he knows the wave, being this far away from Aphelios' tower, gives him and Thresh kill potential, and because Aphelios doesn't have flash, it's another easy kill. Again, in your games, if you know Aphelios or the enemy AD carry is an easy kill, but your support doesn't, ping them, communicate. Now, can you believe it? Ruler shoves the rest of these minions, but he decides to stay in lane here despite getting another kill. Well, this is because in terms of gold value, he would ideally like to back on at least 850 gold so he can buy a blasting wand for his Ludens. So he stays for 2 tower plates, and Aphelios is going to die for the 4th time in 4 levels. Now, going for this play looks kind of sketch, but because the enemy Amumu has been waddling around the map, ditching his AD carry, if you are ever in a 2v1 bot lane, diving is a great opportunity to punish that isolated marksman. So they eventually get the kill, and Ruler is up 2,000 gold at this point. Obviously, the kills and assists are responsible, but denying Aphelios minions by shoving out the minion wave is another big reason as to why this insurmountable lead exists. Now in this game, Ruler is going to GG the bot lane even quicker than last time, and watch how he plays this level 1. He last hits these 3 melee minions and does so from max range, knowing the enemy Varus probably has his E ready, so he doesn't want to get poked for free. Then as Gragas moves down into this brush, Ruler immediately moves up, making sure that line from him to Gragas is as long as it can be. Now he does get clipped by the Varus E here, but why does he all of a sudden feel comfortable running close to Gragas? Well, this is because Varus doesn't have that ability for a potential fight, and his support, Rel, is right in front of him. So if Gragas did body slam in, Rel would cop the engage. This allows him to get a nice bit of poke onto Gragas, and the Hillbilly randomly decides to jump onto Rel. Now this is a bit of an overextension, so Rel replies for a W, and Gragas is in trouble. But if you are Ruler here, your goal is to deal as much damage as possible to the Gragas while staying as healthy as possible yourself. Now the first part is easy, you just auto-attack and Q the Gragas, but the second part, staying healthy, has everything to do with your positioning in relation to the other enemy champion. This is why Ruler moves down and not just forward, because he doesn't want to get chunked by Varus in the process. This positioning is an absolute must-have if you are to be a great ADC. Now after this trade ends, Ruler goes back to holding the north side of the lane because Grag is holding the south side, and notice how Ruler is always teetering on that max range between him and Varus. He's not standing in a different postcode, only moving up when he wants to last hit, and this means that if a fight does break out, he is right there when it does. And speaking of, Varus does something here that gets him killed. He E's to poke Ruler, but he no longer has this for a fight. So Rel capitalizes brilliantly and flashes on top of him, and look at Ruler. He is there as soon as this engage happens, and Varus dies as a result. Now, just like the Syndra game when Ruler gets a kill, he shoves. This denies minions. Now, J4 looks to dive the Gragas here, which is fine because it's a 3v1, but he does escape until another fight breaks out. Now, in these situations where you do outnumber the enemy, like this for example, it's a 3v2, your positioning really doesn't matter all that much. So Ruler headbutts the Gragas and Varus and eventually kills both. Now, it might seem bad that Ruler, Jarvan, and Rel die here, but think about Varus. He missed all of these minions and does not have a single kill. This is why Ruler has nearly 1,000 gold lead and it's only level 3. Now, another similarity is going to pop up here, and Varus is going to die very quickly. The wave is pushing into Ruler, so he leads the wave as it is, only hitting it to last hit. This keeps it in a great position for an extended period of time for Rel and Jarvan to punish Varus if he ever walks up, and what a surprise, he does walk up and Ruler jumps on him with Rel's stun and they kill Gragas as well. Again, the wave is shoved, and after taking one more wave and a tower plate, look at this diff, almost 2,000 gold, and this is level 4. This is Korean Challenger, remember. Now the Varus and Gragas are going to get double killed again when Ruler returns to lane. The wave is again pushing into him, and when Gragas moves up, it's a lot less scary given the gold lead, but just to be safe, he stutter steps for a second until Rel becomes the front line and Gragas gets caught out by this Hex Flash. But again, it is imperative to pay attention to your own positioning, because if Gragas turns his attention on Ruler despite getting caught out, maybe he dies. This is why Ruler even clicks behind him here, knowing it could get scary, and what can Gragas do because of this fantastic positioning? He might body slam and barrel Ruler, but because Ruler's spacing is so on point, Gragas does indeed die. Now Varus feels so bad for his support having to die that he wants to make him feel better by walking in range of Rel, so he gets caught out and dies as well. But Ruler gets greedy here, and this is a massive mistake so many AD carries make in lower elos. If you have already reached your gold value for that major item you want, there is no reason to stay longer on the map, because whatever gold you get after that point, it's really a waste of time. So hitting this tower plate for gold for a cloth armor, like who cares? But it doesn't matter that much in this game because Ruler is so far ahead. In fact, he is almost 2,500 gold ahead at just level 5. But what do you do if you don't get 7 kills by 5 minutes? Well, this last game is going to show us how Ruler still plays exactly the same. And if you're enjoying these types of guys, let us know by leaving a like down below. So at level 1, he auto attacks the minions to fight for the push, stands behind his minions so Braum doesn't pose a threat, and always maintains contact with the wave. So when Varus walks up to last hit this minion, Ruler is in a position to punish him for it. As soon as he Qs, he walks back behind Leona so Braum's Q doesn't hit him, and just to make sure he stops tanking the creep aggro, he runs in this brush for good measure. Now you may have spotted Ruler holding the same side as Braum here, which would typically be risky, but Braum doesn't have his Q. But when Ruler has a feeling it's off cooldown, he positions towards this higher side of the lane like he did in the other games, because the enemy support is holding that brush line. Now after hitting level 2, Varus and Braum are standing so far back, there is no kill potential. So now we have to focus on managing the wave. So once these minions are cleared and the third wave comes to lane, shoving this is definitely the best play if you can shove it though. So watch closely. Ruler auto attacks and then Qs the ranged minions, but it's still too hard to create a clean crash, which would push the next wave back to the middle of the lane. So he stops damaging the wave to stack one more, and then he can hard push. But Ruler makes one of the most common criminal mistakes of all AD carries here. Look at Leona. She is standing so far away from a fight that if Ruler moves up to damage and trade with the enemy bot lane, he is legit 1v2ing. So even though he has his 4th shot and Q available, what does this mean when Braum is right next to Varus and Leona is in Narnia? And you can see for this next wave how scary it looks to play simply because of this bad trade. But Braum uses his Q, so Ruler has one less cooldown to worry about, and also knows Braum's E is definitely still on cooldown. Same thing with Varus's E. So when Varus moves up, Ruler can comfortably trade with him, and look how much better this is. But again, because the wave is still in such a dangerous position, shoving this is critical. If you don't, you are eventually going to get ganked and you will die. Now if we skip to this situation, Varus is going to die. Now Ruler once again is standing diagonally opposite Braum, and he's so close to his tower that when this crazy person uses most of his mana to just WQ, no worries. But it's important to count these cooldowns. This means that Braum just has his E left, not anymore though. So 0 cooldowns for the enemy support, this is huge. And Varus just used his E and it's basically oom. So once this wave is cleared and the Braum is standing in such a whack position, there is 0 risk for Ruler taking on this fight. But Braum, despite being rooted, is not the primary target because Varus walks up in range of Ruler's auto attack and Leona's Zenith Blade. This allows Ruler to pick up the kill, and this is huge because Varus will miss some of these minions after Ruler shoves. But as you can see, the lane is still pretty even. Varus actually has a gold lead, so how does Ruler end up winning this lane? Well, all of a sudden, Braum and Varus appear, and obviously Varus is going to be the main target, but you can never get over keen. So Ruler maintains that space, so there is no chance the enemy bot lane turn this fight around, and after landing his 4 shot onto Varus here, it's only a matter matter of time. He even moves backwards just to be sure he doesn't get murked and picks up a double kill. After this, he shoves 2 waves and now has a 500 gold lead. So take these tips into your games, and if you enjoyed and learned something from the video, smash that like button so you don't miss any of our future daily uploads. Hit that subscribe button as well. And until tomorrow's video, this has been the Cheers.